Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and this evening we'll have a look at the latest on Storm Barra, which is going to be impacting the United Kingdom and the Republic of Ireland over the next 24 hours. It will be arriving probably this evening into early hours of tomorrow morning for many parts of Ireland, and its weather fronts are going to be battering the UK throughout tomorrow afternoon, bringing heavy snow, strong winds, and we have widespread warnings now in force. We'll also have a look at the Met Office warnings and the Eireann warnings as well, as there has been a red warning issued for parts of southwest of Ireland. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and remember to follow on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. Now, at the moment, you can see on the latest radar, we do have low pressure is slowly moving in. Now, this is not Storm Barra at the moment. This is just an initial weather front ahead. So we do have a mother low sing towards Iceland, and Storm Barra is out in the Atlantic, developing as I'm speaking, really. You can see a heavy band of rain. A weather front moved through early this morning. Did bring some quite heavy snow over parts of the higher ground across parts of northern England and Scotland, and that is going to be repeating itself tomorrow with the weather front associated with Storm Barra, where we could be seeing 10 to 20 centimetres of snow, a significant amount. You can see at the moment we do have some heavier showers pushing in behind the weather front, quite widespread, but mainly concentrated across the northwest of Scotland and parts of Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland as well, turning to snow over higher ground. But it should slowly clear and things should turn drier for many, but there will of course be a few showers around. Now, if we do have a look at the weather warnings for Storm Barra, you can see most of United Kingdom is covered in warnings tomorrow, bar from really northern parts of Scotland, and generally many parts of western Scotland as well. However, many areas of central Scotland are covered by a snow warning because we will be getting the precipitation. Perhaps not the strongest winds though, which is a good thing considering these parts got battered by Storm Arwen a few weeks ago. Now, if we do start off with the widespread yellow warning tomorrow from 9 a.m. until midnight tomorrow, high winds are going to affect much of the UK. Now, it was issued earlier. It was updated earlier this morning, but it was issued yesterday. Warning area updated to allow for separate warnings for Northern Ireland and Irish Sea, as those warnings are extended into tomorrow a bit later. Extending into Wednesday and a bit later than that as well. Whereas this warning in force is just for England and Wales until midnight tomorrow. We have a further warning, which again is from 9 a.m. until midnight tomorrow. Again, Storm Barra will bring very windy conditions to western UK with severe gales. Again, if we have to look at further details, 70 to 80 miles per hour at times, potentially 50 to 60 miles per hour widely inland. I wouldn't be surprised to see this maybe updated to a AB warning, but at this stage it's just a yellow warning, and it could still be changed tomorrow. We also have a yellow rain and wind warning parts of Northern Ireland from 6 a.m. tomorrow until 9 a.m. on Wednesday. You can see again 40 to 50 miles per hour gusts widely, 65 to 75 miles per hour in exposed coastal locations, 20 to 30 millimetres expected quite widely, and 40 to 50 millimetres of higher ground. There could also be a bit of leading edge snow as well, which could come into the mix throughout tomorrow morning. So if you are in Northern Ireland, do make sure you keep up to date with the warnings and do make the necessary precautions for this storm. We also have a yellow warning for snow from 11 a.m. until midnight tomorrow. Heavy snow is expected across northern parts of Great Britain, bringing likely travel disruption, especially over higher routes. Now, if we have a look at the further details, spells of hail snow will spread northwards across central and northern England into Scotland during Tuesday. 2 to 5 centimetres expected to accumulate quite widely above 200 metres. So it is only moderate hills, not the tops, but moderate hills around 200 metres, with 10 to 20 centimetres likely over higher ground. It could be blizzards with drifting and poor visibility. Again, high impact, low likelihood, simply because it all depends on the freezing level, how low that freezing level does come. Of course, if you're at 100 metres, you couldn't rule out seeing some flakes and some snow for a period of time, potentially, if that cold air does hold on a little bit more. And again, all depends on the exact track of the low. Very slight shifts could lower that freezing level, bringing snow to more widespread areas. So have to stay tuned for that. At this stage, definitely does seem higher ground is going to be seeing quite severe conditions from the snow. Low-lying areas, most likely just heavier rain and strong winds, but you couldn't rule out seeing some unexpected snowfall to maybe areas around 100-150 metres potentially. Through Wednesday, we still have that yellow and rain wind warning across Northern Ireland, and the wind warning across southwest parts of England and southern parts of Wales as well, because Storm Barra is not going to be swiftly moving through. It's going to sort of sit over Ireland as it fills in, i.e. loses its low pressure status, filling in all the way down from sort of 950 millibars all the way to around 1,000 millibars over the course of about 36 hours. As it fills in, it will continue spiralling, strong winds and rain around, but it should gradually ease across Wednesday. So things should turn a little bit better for Thursday, but still could be some severe impacts through Wednesday. Now, also having a look at Eireann, having a look at their weather warnings, because it does look like Great Britain is going to be quite severely impacted by this storm, but Republic of Ireland does look like it will be seeing the most severe impacts from this storm. We now have a red warning, which is the highest level warning from Eireann for strong winds across parts of the southern counties of Ireland for Cork and Kerry. Storm Barra, with southwesterly winds later veering northwesterly, will reach mean speeds in excess of 80 kilometers per hour, which is 50 miles per hour, with severe or damaging gusts in excess of 130 kilometers per hour, and that is roughly around 90 miles per hour gusts. Due to a combination of high waves, storm surge and high tide, coastal flooding is expected. It's from 6 a.m. tomorrow until 9 p.m. on Tuesday as well. And you can see on the map here, there's also a marine warning in force because, of course, ships out in the sea. Red warning quite widely across the west and southern coast of Ireland. Also have an orange warning in force for parts of Clare, Cork, Kerry, Limerick, Waterford, Galway, Mayo and Wexford. Mean speeds of 65 to 80 kilometers an hour, with severe or damaging gusts of 100 to 130 kilometers an hour, with locally stronger winds likely, with severe gusts on coast due to combination, of course, of high wave, storm surge and high tide. Coastal flooding is expected again from 6 a.m. on Tuesday and to a later time of 6 a.m. on Wednesday. So it could be severe impacts from that. Of course, slightly lower on the damaging gusts and less likely to have as high mean speeds, but still severe impacts could be seen here. Also have a orange warning for parts of Dublin, Louth, Wicklow and East Meath. I'm sorry if I've got any of those names wrong. But Storm Barra, southeasterly winds will reach mean speeds of 65 to 80 kilometers an hour, with, of course, damaging gusts of 100 to 130 kilometers an hour. Again, similar to the other warnings, from 8 a.m. Tuesday till 1 p.m. on Tuesday. So less in its extent, sort of time-wise, so only a few hours for that, and then getting widespread yellow warnings in force. Again, marine warnings with violent storm force 11 winds, and widely storm force 8 to storm force 10. So severe impacts, multiple warnings in force tomorrow for this. Can't go through every single one in detail, but as you can see by this map, severe impacts. And if you are in any of these counties that have the amber or orange or red warnings, do make sure you have an in-depth look on Met Eireann's warnings. Make sure you do know the precautions that are being taken, and do stay up to date, of course, with their forecasts. And of course, I'll update this again tomorrow. Wednesday also does have some warnings around. Amber warnings still in force for inland areas, still 65 to 80 kilometers per hour severe winds with 100 to 130 kilometers per hour damaging gusts. Again, it expires at 6 a.m. so it's only really early hours of the morning, and then widely we still have a yellow warning in force for the whole of Ireland and Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland, with still warnings for strong winds as well. So yeah, very severe impacts. Of course, the main risk of this storm is going to be across the Republic of Ireland and western parts of England and Wales. Also, we'll have severe impacts from rain and heavy snow across parts of northern England and southern Scotland. So if we do now have a look at the raw data from the weather models, seeing what they are showing, you can see that weather front moving through, heavy snow across northern England, across the hills, moving through, and we're just going to have a smacking of showers really behind, mainly in the west and in the north. Could be wintry at times, but over the course of the evening, it is sort of dying away before we see the initial weather fronts move in for early hours of tomorrow of Storm Barra into parts of southern Ireland. It does look like there will be a squall line associated with the storm moving through. Things turning drier through the morning of Tuesday, but showers will quickly pack into the southwest. Could be initially a bit of snow across parts of Northern Ireland, parts of Northern Wales, for the heaviest snow will be across parts of Northern England and parts of Scotland as well. Again, could come to low-lying areas for a time, but main accumulations will be, of course, over higher ground. And through rush hour, looks like the squall line will reach London area, so it could be some severe impacts there for a time as it does move through. A lot of heavy showers packing in behind, in and around the centre of the storm as it sort of spirals around. You see these showers just continuing all the way through the early hours of Wednesday before slowly dying away through the early hours of Thursday before we see more weather fronts move in from the west. Now, if we do have a look at wind gusts, we can see at the moment nothing too strong. However, through this evening, into the early hours of Tuesday, the winds really pick up in the southwest of Ireland. 70, 80 miles per hour gusts widely before 90 to 100 miles per hour gusts reach the southern coast of Ireland. 103 miles per hour there, just on the bottom left of the screen. Beyond that, we do maintain those very strong winds all the way on the southern coast of Ireland, through the Irish Sea, to the north of Northern Ireland, and down the east and southern coast of England as well. And you can see there is a big drop off in the wind speeds, and that will be behind that squall line. So in the squall line, we can even see higher gusts than initially showing here. Beyond that, those strong winds stay to the south of Ireland and to the west of Ireland and in the Irish Sea as well. Could be severely impacting parts of southwest England and southern Wales. Could be seeing an amber warning definitely put in force for this for 60, 70 or 80 mile per hour gusts for a time through early hours of Wednesday before those winds slowly die away and things turn a lot calmer for Thursday before more low pressure looks like it will be arriving by Saturday. If you also have a look at snow depth, see what that is showing over the next few days, you can see potentially some accumulation across Northern Ireland and some hills in Ireland as well, for main accumulations over higher ground of Northern England and parts of Scotland as well. Could be seeing 10 to 20 centimetres, of course, for this, before it does slowly melt away as we do see milder temperatures come in. If we do have a look at max temperatures, you can see this afternoon pretty chilly, only around 4 or 5 degrees quite widely, maybe 6 or 7 in the south, but freezing across parts of Northern England and Scotland. The early hours of Tuesday, there will be a bit of a frost around through early hours of Tuesday, potentially across many parts of Northern Ireland, Republic of Ireland, England, Wales and Scotland, ahead of Storm Barra, for warmer temperatures do come in, but where we stay below freezing or around freezing across Northern Hills and Scotland, that's where we're going to be seeing the potential heavy snow. Beyond that, still pretty chilly temperatures throughout the rest of the week. Highs around 6-7 degrees in the day. But of course, we have snow on the ground, and further north, could be only touching around freezing or a couple of degrees above freezing, and still got quite a few cold nights to come potentially, with some more widespread frosts before milder air does move in for the weekend. Now, if we do have a look at the ARPEGE, we start off with precipitation. You can see heavy rain and snow moving through earlier today, and then we see Storm Barra arrive throughout the southwest of Ireland, impacting many areas throughout tomorrow morning into the afternoon, with heavy snow across many parts of Northern England and Scotland, just continually spiraling heavy showers and parts and strong winds and potentially a bit of snowfall around all the way until the early hours of Thursday. Now, if we have a look at wind gusts, you can see nothing too significant at the moment, but over the course of the early hours of tomorrow, we see significant winds, 70, 80, 90 mile per hour gusts potentially arriving in the far southwest, and those do continue all the way through Tuesday afternoon into the evening, and through the early hours of Wednesday, still gusting 70, 80 miles per hour, potentially across the east coast of Scotland, down the east coast of England, maybe 50, 60 miles per hour, and of course parts of southern Ireland, western Ireland, and in the southwest of England, parts of southern Wales, still 70, 80 miles per hour potentially, before slowly dying away through Wednesday into Thursday, so diminishing quite significantly there. Now, if we do finally, for the short-range forecast, have a look at the precipitation from the Eireann run. Now, you can see heavy precipitation moving through the next few hours, heavy snow moving in with very strong winds, of course, and it slowly just continually brings in bands of rain and strong winds and a bit of snow around through Wednesday as well, for slowly dying away. If we also have a look at snow depth, see what the Eireann is showing, Can see over the course of Tuesday evening, potentially 10 to 15 centimetres over the higher ground, maybe a little bit to low-lying areas for a time, but nothing too significant. If we do have a look at wind gusts here, that does compare. You can see those really strong winds arriving through the early hours of Tuesday, 70, 80, 90 or 100 mile per hour gusts, and continuing through parts of the eastern coast of England and Scotland, parts of southern Ireland, Wales and southwest, of course, with those strong winds. Does look pretty nailed on now. 80, 90 mile an hour gusts look quite likely in this portion to the south of Ireland, or southern half of Ireland, down to southern parts of Wales and southwest England. And as I said earlier, wouldn't be surprised to see an amber warning put in force for that. Does it look pretty severe there, for winds slowly die away through Wednesday evening into Thursday. Now, if we do finish up for the video, have a look at the GFS. Now, you can see at the moment, Storm Barra is just this little feature along the jet stream, but it will spin up very quickly to turn into a severe storm over the next 12 hours or so. And you can see getting down to sort of 956 millibars there across as it heads into parts of Ireland with severe winds on its southern flank. And it does slowly move through before filling in and spiralling away. Now, if we do go back to the European outlook, you can see generally things are quite unsettled with a bit of an easterly wind for a time on Friday. That's why it's going to be staying chilly. We do start to build a bit of a Scandinavian high in for the weekend. However, nothing really too much comes of it, and we continue on a westerly flow. High pressure trying to build in from the south, but just stays a flat westerly as the tropospheric polar vortex towards Greenland and Iceland doesn't want to budge at this stage. Again, showing this in the longer term, of course, day 10 and beyond that is very uncertain. So we can't say too much from that, but at this stage, nothing too much in terms of colder weather through the middle of December. But looking quite westerly, and could be seeing more named storms potentially if we continue with this pattern. So we'll just have to keep an eye really what happens with the models. Now, if we finally finish up with the GFS Ensembles, looking at the longer term outlook, you can see pretty chilly over the next sort of 5 days, with temperatures well below average, a good few 3, 4, 5 degrees below average, but not quite cold enough for snow to low-lying areas. Around -3, -4 degrees, 850 HPA. Could be seeing some winteriness for a time, but nothing substantial. Towards the weekend, we do see temperatures rise quite significantly to around or just above average, and they stay around or above average all the way until sort of the 20th, 22nd of December. See, right towards the end of the runs, some going much colder, but nothing too major. You can see precipitation isn't massive in the longer term, quite significant over the next sort of few days, but over the longer term, nothing too significant in terms of precipitation, because we do have high pressure in the south trying to build up. But as you saw in that latest GFS, it doesn't quite make its way to the north, so it's still holding on to unsettled conditions. And if we do have a look at Glasgow, you can see pretty chilly over the next 5 days, below average, getting down to -5 over the next sort of 12 to 24 hours, and that's why we could be seeing significant snowfall for a time. And then towards the weekend, similar to London, we see temperatures rise to around, returning to slightly below average for a time, but staying above average all the way through to the 20th to 22nd of December. Of course, there were some very cold runs right towards the end, cropping up, but nothing too significant at this stage, just outliers, and we'll have to keep an eye on what happens with those. But mainly precipitation and low pressure is going to be the theme in the longer term. Now, if we finally have a look at new snow depth spike, you can see quite significant snow depth spikes over the course of the next 24 hours, as we do have the potential for heavy snow. It's going to be marginal for Glasgow, but there is the potential for seeing some significant snow for a time. So, yeah, if you are in the warning zone, which Glasgow is for the snow, do make sure you do keep up to date, and make sure you check on the radar as well tomorrow morning, as it will be quite marginal, especially low-lying areas, and we'll have to see what happens at the time. So do remember to make sure you do check the relevant warnings for your location. There are a lot of warnings out. Can't cover all of them in a single video, but do make sure you do check them out and take the necessary precautions if you are in any of the amber and red warnings in Ireland, and even if you are just in yellow warnings, make sure you do stay tuned, as I do suspect some areas, especially across sort of southwest England and southern parts of Wales, could see some very severe impacts from the wind, even though it is only a yellow warning at this stage. And of course, where we see that heavy snowfall as well, could be some major disruption to higher routes. So do make sure you do check on that before taking any journeys tomorrow afternoon. So anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure you do stay safe out there in this another named storm, and I'll see you again for another video soon.